What do YouTube? This is your boy Trey Speaks. Right now I want to talk to you guys about the new documentary that Fox just did yesterday called Who Shot Biggie and Tupac? Or Tupac and Biggie. And they had some pretty substantial evidence. Some stuff we already knew and heard over the years. Like a lot of people suspecting that Suge had him killed. Apparently they disproved that fact. IC and investigative journalists, they kind of disproved the theory that Suge had him killed, or somehow he would actually put his own life in risk while being in the same vehicle as Tupac if he wanted him killed, because, Tupac, as we all know, Tupac wanted to leave Death Row to start his own label and things of that nature. So they disproved the theory that Suge had him killed and somehow was still in the vehicle while Tupac was being shot. And there's even been a theory that even Suge himself was the intended target. I heard that over the years, and most recently, actually. And then also, a lot of people were talking, of course, we all know the infamous Reggie Wright interview. A lot of people were saying that, well, maybe he had something to do with it. Suge Knight, the two calls that they called him, constantly, he said that, listen, he didn't know any of those guys, he didn't know Raphael, he didn't know David, the two former cops, off-duty police officers, I believe, that somehow had something to do with, that were on Suge Knight's securities detail, allegedly. Both Reggie Wright and Suge Knight said that was absolutely false. Actually, what Suge Knight said that was false was that he never knew those guys. He said that only Reggie knew those guys. Reggie said, "Nah, I didn't know those guys either. I heard about the rumors, but I believe what Greg Kading said in Murder Rap. That's what really happened." I will say this. I think Reggie Wright kind of, he kept playing. Both him and Suge kept playing hot potato with it. They kept saying, well, they kept going too fast. They were like, well, kept pointing the finger. Like, well, actually, Reggie has something to do. No, Suge has something to do with it. No, Reggie has something to do with it. No, Suge knows what's up. Things of that nature. And it was really funny to see. It was really kind of dumb. Reggie, you can see that he was kind of sweating and kind of lying, actually, too, about the whole ordeal. He said he just kept going back to the book. I just believe what Greg Kading said in the book in Murder Rap. I think that's pretty substantial evidence. He even asked the reporter, like, well, why do you want me to validate what was said in the book? Why do you want me to do it? I just believe what happened in the book. What was read in the book is what really happened. He constantly went back to that. And then, of course, they discussed the infamous Quad Studios robbery. Idi Amin said that he was there. Idi Amin actually said that he was actually there when the robbery happened and when Tupac was killed. During the robbery, Idi Amin said that, they were walking down the street, him, Stretch, and some other guys. Fat by Freddy actually played an interview with Stretch after the incident at the Quad Studios. Stretch played this part. He said, listen, they were walking down the street. Cease was throwing stuff down at people and things like that. Big was up in the window with him. He said, hey, what's up? They were coming up, things like that, things of that nature. And all of a sudden, they saw this guy, standing outside of the Quad Studios up on the brick, outside the door in army fatigues. And so, he was just doing this thing. And they walk in, it's the guy sitting down with a newspaper like this up to his face, covering his face and things like that. And all of a sudden they said, get on the ground, things of that nature. Tupac tried to pull out his gun and he actually shot himself. And, that's both what Stretch said and with Funk Master Flex said. As we all know, Flex said infamously on IG Live, he said he believes that Biggie would have been alive if Tupac would have never lied. And now I'm really starting to understand why he thinks that, because he said in this documentary, he said, listen, if those two would have just met up for 5 minutes at any other point in life, they would have squashed this whole thing. And I honestly believe that part. I think if they would have met up, they were both level-headed people, I think that would have been avoided. This whole thing, ordeal would have been avoided. I think Biggie's death would have been avoided. I feel like Tupac's death would have been avoided. Of course, the investigative journalist believes that Orlando Anderson actually killed Tupac, because they did the whole forensic thing, with the whole ballistics of how he was shot and things of that nature. And then on Big's murder, people feel like that his murder was actually a little more complicated. And actually, it turns out in Biggie's case, actually, we all know that his mother, and Faith Evans, sued LAPD and think that they had something to do with it. Turns out that one of the lead investigators that was actually working on it during, I think, 2005, 2009, or 99, 2000, to 1999 through 2005, one of the lead investigators, Stephen Katz, actually hid significant and substantial evidence to convict David Mack on the murder of Notorious B.I.G. was hidden in his desk, and he said, recently said, in deposition, he said, I forgot all about that material. In which the judge was like, man, get out of here. That's utterly unbelievable. And I believe the judge. He's right. That's unbelievable. How could you forget about stuff like that? You know, and I just want to say, man, you know, it really is that both these talented people actually had to go this way. Really messed up. And everyone, you know, to see everyone's ordeal, you know, actually, to go back to Biggie's part, Puffy's, one of his former bodyguards, Eugene Deal, said, when they were leaving that little museum because it was a fire, because of what the fire department said, it was too full and things of that nature. He sees this guy in a blue suit, gold tie, gold bow tie, and everything. He walks up to Puff's car. Eugene drops his weapon, drops his Nina. You know, the guy looks at him dead in his eyes, they make eye contact, and just walks away. So he's trying to rush Biggie out of that situation, and it happened, unfortunately. But with all this said, I wish things didn't like this really didn't happen. But this is your boy Shay Speaks.